Hi there, my name's Sarah. I'm the Senior Fitness Director at FFC, and I'm here to take you through Intro to Kettlebells. Kettlebells are a great tool to use for a total body workout. All you really need are 1 or 2 kettlebells. You can hit every major muscle group, and we're gonna take you through some basic movements today to make these tools a little less intimidating. So the first thing that we're going to go over is basic safety. Using the kettlebells is very easy, and it can be something that everyone should be able to do, but there's a couple tips to remember. So this is my client Roger. Hi, Roger. So the first thing you want to remember is you are going to be holding onto these kettlebells. So you should take anything off your hands or your wrist. So I'm going to have Roger take his watch off of his wrist, and that's just going to be much more comfortable for him when he's holding that kettlebell. The next thing that we're going to look at are his shoes. You really want shoes with a flat sole. The further up your heel is, the harder it's going to be to feel the ground and to do these movements. So we want to make sure that you can feel the ground. So we're going to have him also take off his shoes. So now that Roger's ready to go, the first movement that we're going to teach him is the goblet squat. This is a basic squatting movement with the kettlebell held right up beneath the chin, and it's really going to help you get a lot deeper into your squat because you're front loaded. That weight's in the front of you. The thing to remember before you even get started is that most of our kettlebells in our clubs are in kilograms. So just make sure you're grabbing the right weight. So for women, usually we want to grab anywhere between a 10, a 12, or a 16 kilogram. For men, usually they'll start around a 16, 20, or 24 kilogram. So for here, we're gonna start Roger at the 16 kilogram. So I'm gonna have him pick up the kettlebell, and he's gonna hold it right beneath his chin. So what we wanna remember is that those elbows are in nice and tight, that the bell isn't resting against his chest, so we want it just out a little bit more, and that his feet are in a nice squat stance. So for most people, this is gonna look like shoulder to hip width apart. All I'm gonna have him do, now that he looks like nice and set up, is squat down. I'm gonna coach him to put his elbows right to the inside of his knees, and then he's gonna drive the ground away from him. He's gonna stand up nice and tall. That's 1 rep. We're gonna do this 4 more times. He's gonna pull himself down into that squat, stand up nice and tall. That's 2, all the way down and up. There's 3, and then he's gonna do 2 more here. So really pulling him down, getting those elbows right between the knees, and last one. Good, then he's going to bring the bell down safely to the floor. Notice he brought it down to his chest, and then he brought it down to the floor. We want to be really careful when putting those kettlebells back down to the floor that you're not hitting your toes or anyone else who is around you. So now that we have conquered the squat and Roger's squat looks great, we're going to teach you the next kettlebell movement. The next one we're going to go over is the hip hinge. So for most people, this is also called a deadlift. The deadlift is the foundational movement for all other kettlebell movements, like the swing, the kettlebell clean, the kettlebell snatch, but today we're just going to go over the hip hinge. When you're doing this correctly, you should feel this in the backs of the legs and in your butt. You should not be feeling it in your low back. If you are, definitely find an FFC trainer and ask them for a little bit of help, because they'll be able to help you do this movement correctly. So what I'm gonna do, we're gonna use the same 16 kilogram kettlebell. I'm gonna have Roger come forward and stand straight over the bell. What I want him to imagine is if there was an imaginary line coming out from the handle, it would go right over his shoelaces. So that's how you wanna be, straight over the bell. You don't wanna have to be reaching for it. From here, I'm gonna have him push his hips back. So what I tell all of my clients, picture like you're gonna push your butt back like you wanna hit the wall behind you. So go ahead and do that. And notice that his shoulders right here are higher than his hips, and his hips are higher than his knees. This is a great position. He's going to be able to activate those hamstrings, and he's not gonna feel this in his low back. Now what I'm gonna do is have him go ahead and stand up with that bell. He's gonna get nice and tall at the top, and now he's gonna come all the way back down. As you're coming back down, imagine like you're pushing that kettlebell back to your heels. He's gonna stand up nice and tall, all the way back down, push that kettlebell right between those heels, and I'm gonna have him do 2 more. All the way up, and back down. On this last one, I'm gonna have him squeeze his butt cheeks as hard as he can, Get nice and tall, and then all the way back down to the ground. Set that down, and then go ahead and stand up. Great job. The final kettlebell movement that we're going to go through today is the press. Remember that for most people, you're going to have to go down a couple bell sizes for the kettlebell press. Most of us are stronger in our lower body than we are in our upper body, so don't feel bad grabbing a lower size bell to get it up over your head. What we're going to do, I'm going to have Roger grab this bell with both hands, and you're going to really wrap those hands around the handle of the bell and just bring it up to your shoulder. Great. So this is called the kettlebell racked position, and we want to make sure that he's as strong as he can be in this position. So what I'm going to do is have Roger straighten out his wrist and make sure that his knuckles are facing the ceiling, just like that. This is probably one of the biggest mistakes that we see people make when holding the kettlebell. If your wrist isn't straight, you're not going to have that power to press it up over your head. From here, I want Roger to get super tight. Pretend like he's standing and he's in a plank. His knees are locked out, he's squeezing his butt cheeks, and all he's gonna do is press straight up overhead. Good. And then he's gonna pull that kettlebell back down to his shoulder. Great. He's gonna press up. Good. And down. We're just gonna do this one more time. Press up. Notice how his bicep ends right next to his ear. That's exactly what we want. And all the way down. And now he's going to set it back down on the ground just like he picked it up. That's the kettlebell press. Now that we've covered 3 basic kettlebell movements, let's go ahead and take you through a workout. We're going to combine the kettlebell press, the kettlebell hip hinge, and the kettlebell goblet squat, along with a couple other common movements, so you're able to get a total body workout just using 2 pieces of equipment in the gym. What we're going to start with are the bigger muscle groups like our squats, deadlifts, and then we're going to move into smaller muscle groups like the press. So, Roger, you're going to grab the heavy bell, and we're going to start with 10 squats. So he's going to pick up that bell again, elbows are in at his side, he's going to pull himself down, and then drive back up as hard and as fast as he can, and he's going to give us 10 squats here. Getting nice and tall as he comes up, squeezing those butt cheeks together, keeping those elbows together in front of him, and remember, we don't want that kettlebell to lean up against the chest. I think you've got 2 more, right? 2 more. You got this. Last one. Great. Now we're going to set that down. We're going to give his legs a little bit of a rest here, and now we're going to have him get into a plank. So I really like combining a core exercise with a lower body exercise. It gives you a chance to rest, but you're also working your core during that active recovery. So I'm going to have him get into his push-up plank position. So he's going to be on his hands, holding here. Good. What kettlebells have in common with every core exercise is during every kettlebell movement, your core should be engaged like you're doing a plank. So for him, I'm going to have him squeeze those butt cheeks together, lock out his knees, think about pulling your kneecaps up into your quads, and stay really, really tight. What you can do is progress the time you're in this plank. As this starts getting easier, add more and more time. We'll give Roger a break here. Great job. We've got 2 more exercises. So now what we're going to do is combine our deadlift with our press. So what I want him to do is get right over this kettlebell again for the deadlift, and we're going to do 10 deadlifts. So he's going to do 10, getting nice and tall, really kind of simulating that plank at the top of this movement. Good. I'm going to have him look straight ahead at the top here. Good. And get nice and tall. I always like to say, think like there's a string attached to the top of your head and it's pulling you up to the ceiling. Great. We'll just have him do 2 more here. Good. Last one. And then he's going to bring that belt all the way back down, and we're going to go right into our presses. We're going to do 10 total presses, so just 5 on each side. Good. He's going to keep that wrist straight. He's going to lock out his knees, squeeze his butt cheeks. Good. Really ground those feet into the floor, and he's going to do 5 presses here. With the presses, again, you may have to go down a couple bell sizes, or if this starts getting tough, go ahead and use your knees. Use those knees to help pop up the arm. So if you need to use those knees on the last one, you can. Go ahead and do that. Perfect. That'll give you a little boost off the shoulder. Then he's going to do 5 on the other side. Wrist is going to be straight, elbow is going to stay tucked into his side, and he's going to pull that bell back down every time. Great. Really think punching those knuckles all the way up to the ceiling. 2 more, and remember, if these start getting tough, use those knees if you need to. Great. Bring that back down. Now he's going to set that down on the floor. So what we did was 10 reps of everything and about a 30-second plank. What you can do is take this workout and now just go start at 10 reps. The next time through, you're gonna do 9 reps. Then you're gonna do 8 reps of everything, 7, all the way down to 1. This workout should take you about 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how fast you're going. Keep that 30-second plank. You'll have a total body workout in about 20 minutes using 1 or 2 kettlebells and a small space in the gym. I promise you're gonna feel it afterwards, and let me know how it goes.